People of Reddit, what's your creepiest glitch in the Matrix or unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you? I remember being pretty young, like 9 or 10, and I was the car park of a pub in England, Southend. I remember seeing someone in their teens in the window of a house looking over the car park. They waved at me, and I felt like I knew them somehow. My parents asked who I was waving at, and I said just some lady in the window over there. Didn't think much of it. Fast forward 10 years. I was at my nan's new house. I remember walking into her room, which I never was allowed to do, going to the window. I then realized I was in the house looking over that same parking lot, and remembering that interaction years before. Then a girl around 9 or 10 who was in said car park waved at me, and I waved back. I felt like I knew her. Could not explain it, and have never told anyone about it. It freaked me out. When I was a teenager, my family lived in a big 115-year-old brick house. Plenty of creepy stuff happened, but one night I was heading to bed when the door between the first floor kitchen and the basement stairs absolutely slammed shut. It had a unique sound that I recognized immediately as the kitchen/basement door. There were no windows open. That cold caused a draft. Our dog was asleep on the second floor. I was on the second floor. My parents were both asleep in the third floor attic. Had been converted to a master bedroom. None of us could have shut the door. Fucking terrified, I worked up the courage to go investigate, carrying my hilariously teeny pocket knife for protection. As I went downstairs, I turned on every light. When I reached the kitchen, the door was wide open. Even more freaked out, I ran back up to bed, leaving the lights on. A minute or two later, I heard a definite SSSSHHHHOK from downstairs. I laid in bed and was ready to accept my demise. Eventually I somehow fell asleep, and in the morning I was there first downstairs. I woke up before my parents and dog, and found that the lights were all off, and the basement door had been shut again. Weird but happy. About 5 years ago in November we lost our family dog to cancer. She was the dog my children grew up with, loved by all. At the next Christmas, at the end of the day of gifts, food, and family, as I was picking up, I found a tiny pewter dog figurine sitting on the mantle. I asked everyone who had been at the house that day if they left it. No one had. Okay, weird, but took it as a good omen. When my eldest went back to college at the end of that Christmas break, he asked if he could take the little figurine to remember his dog. Of course, I said yes. A week or two later, picking up around the house, there was the figurine again. I called my son and said, "You forgot the dog figurine." He said, "No, I didn't. It's right in front of me on my desk." I had now found the second figurine. Again, no one claimed any knowledge of it. No idea how, but I still have the two of them tucked away on a shelf to this day. Kind of reminds me of a rescue cat, Millie, my family had when I was a teenager. Millie had a hard life before us and had some brain damage, so needed constant babying, including being supervised when playing outside. One day I was watching her play and she came to sit on the arm of the bench next to me and sun herself for a while. It started to go dark, so I called Millie to follow me inside, and as she stood up I saw this little metal thing that she had been sat on. I had a closer look, and it was a little silver angel charm. I thought it should belong to her as she had found it, so fastened it to her collar. That angel was with her on her collar until she passed last year. A while after she passed, my mum wanted to adopt another cat and was going through the old RSPCA files from her previous rescues when she came across Miller's file. It had all her details, markings, job, health conditions, and her previous name on the top of the page, Angel. The reason it's so weird is that the angel charm that Millie had seemingly fabricated out of nowhere when I had found it. It didn't belong to me or anyone we knew, and was found under Millie in our securely enclosed back garden. Millie also had a particular hatred for Buddha, seeking out my mum's statues of him and throwing up on them, decapitating them, throwing them down the stairs and shattering them, but that's another story. Removed a painting from the wall during a late evening cleaning, put it away, and returned to the wall to see a never before seen painting on the same spot. Put a chill down my spine. What if it was just a stack of paintings like the one SpongeBob puts in front of Mr. Krabs' first dollar? About a year ago, me and my cousin visited Los Angeles. We were driving around using Google Maps, and after missing our third or fourth exit, we swear we both heard it sigh loudly before it rerouted us. We freaked out and made sure our driving was on point the rest of the ride. The rest of the trip there, if we missed any of our exits or turns, we always apologized to Google, so hopefully she would know we were just morons and not assholes. I used to have a recurring dream as a teenager every night for months. I was sitting at a table on the patio of a restaurant. I was out there alone, waiting for my food. A homeless man comes up to the other side of the patio and asks for change. I'm digging in my wallet for a couple dollars, and then I hear tires screech and look up to see a crash in an intersection near the restaurant. I run out there to see if I can help, and as I run out into the road I get hit by a car and wake up at the impact. After a while the dream stopped, and I put it out of my mind. Fast forward to me being 28 and sitting at an on the border on the patio waiting for my food. A homeless guy comes walking past the restaurant, but doesn't stop and ask for change. It makes me think about that dream though, and I start to feel uneasy. Shortly after, I hear the tires screech, and I see a wreck happen in the intersection near the restaurant. I begin to run out there, but stop at the sidewalk and look out towards incoming traffic, and there isn't Suv not slowing down. She was on her phone and blew through the intersection completely unaware of what had just happened. Ran out and checked on the people. Everyone was fine. Homeless guy is an angel in disguise. Asking for change. Get it? You changed it. This happened around 1991. It's the middle of the night. I'm standing in my sister's living room, and it must be a full moon, because even though it's around 1 AM and the lights are off, I can see clearly. There's a mixing bowl with popcorn kernels in the bottom on the floor in front of the TV and some rental VHS in a pile nearby. I hear a noise and turn around to see my sister's normally very friendly Labrador retriever looking like Cujo. Fangs bared, snarling, hackles raised. Suddenly there's a bright flash of light, and I wake up like I hit the bed from a great height. I think that was a weird dream. Eventually, I fall back to sleep, and in the morning I call my sister, planning to tell her the story, but she preempts me by telling me about the weird thing that happened in the night. They woke up to the sound of the dog snarling at about 1 AM. Her husband thought there was a prowler in the house, got a gun, and went to find the dog. She was standing in the living room snarling at the middle of the room. He couldn't see anyone, so he flipped on the light. No one was there. The dog instantly stopped snarling and walked to her bed like nothing had happened. He checked the property and went back to bed. We talked a bit, and I found out they watched some rental movies, and of course we had popcorn. Why? My sister is a little woo-woo at times, so I decided not to tell her about my night. She lived about 450 miles away, by the way. I wouldn't say that this was creepy, but it's definitely one of the most quaintly surreal things I've ever experienced. So, back in 2016, I was injured at work, and for about 6 months my life consisted of going to physical therapy and being confined to bed until I could walk again. With that in mind, I had a lot of time to read books. One of the books that I was reading was X-Heroes by Peter Clines. Now I don't know about anyone else, but when I read a book I like to cast the characters in my head, coming up with how they look. One of the minor characters in this book was named Elijah, and because I know someone named Elijah, and because the book is set in Los Angeles where I live, the Elijah in the book became the Elijah that I knew in my imagination. But then, something strange started to happen. The Elijah in the book made specific references to movies like Aliens, a movie which the Elijah I know is a huge fan of. The Elijah in the book was a big fan of firearms, as the Elijah that I know is. Put into words, these details seem slim, but there was something so strange about the character in this book that I eventually reached out to the Elijah that I knew to ask about it. Turns out that Elijah knows the author, Peter Clines, who had put him in the book. What are the odds that I would choose to buy a random book with a story that takes place essentially on my street in Los Angeles and features someone I know in real life as a minor character? That blew my mind, and it's easily one of the most surreal experiences I've had. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.